So we know that Jesus suffered for us on the cross. We know he suffered physically for us. But do we understand the emotional pain that he suffered there as well, or even leading up to the cross? I just want us to look for a few minutes at this. We could spend hours and days talking about the emotional pain that he also experienced, but I just want us to look in that direction at a couple of examples and try to put ourselves in his place for a few minutes. First, if we look at Matthew chapter 26, verses 48 through 50, first he's betrayed by a friend. Again, that's Matthew 26, 48 through 50. Now his betrayer had given them a sign saying, "Whomever I kiss, he is the one, seize him." Immediately he went up to Jesus and said, "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him. But Jesus said to him, "Friend, why have you come?" Then they came and laid hands on Jesus and took him. So he's betrayed by someone that he still counts as a friend. How painful is it to us when someone, close to us betrays us or hurts us? Most of us probably feel pretty sad and, disillusioned when a friend or family member hurts us like that. Here Judas he's rejecting Christ totally, rejecting him, rejecting his kingdom, turning him over to be killed. Yet Jesus still calls him friend. If we look down in verse 56, part of that verse also says, "Then all the disciples forsook him and fled." Now he's abandoned by his other friends. From our human perspective, he's alone. Now we know that this was expected. Jesus knew this was coming. I'm not trying to say this was a surprise, but would that really be less hurtful? Just because we knew it was coming, we know that we have tribulation and persecution, but does that really make it less painful for us? I don't think it does. And think about us again, being in Jesus' position. These are his friends and his companions in the ministry for the past, 3 or so years. Supposedly, they all believe in him and agree with him, right? Now one has betrayed him and the others have abandoned him when he needs them the most. I know Jesus is the Son of God. This is supposed to happen. I'm not trying to say that it's not so, but he is also human, especially at this time in that place. This was hurtful, painful to see his friends fall away so fast, to see their faith fail so quickly. Even after they had followed him for years, they had seen the healings and the miracles. I want us to look at one other example, looking at where Peter denies Jesus. And, we always look at this and we think this is kind of a sad thing, that he failed to stand up and be counted for, with the Lord. But if we look at this account the way it's mentioned in Luke, kind of imagine how the Lord felt about this. If we look at Luke chapter 22, verses 60 and 61, just these two verses, it starts with Peter's final denial, that third denial. But Peter said, "Man, I do not know what you are saying." Immediately, while he was speaking, the rooster crowed. And the Lord turned and looked at Peter. Then Peter remembered the word of the Lord, how he had said to him, "Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times." Pardon me. We know that Peter went and wept bitterly. Do we think Jesus was glad saying, "Ha, I told you so," or something like that? No, he was not. This was another hurt. This is another wound. This is probably more grievous of a wound when you think about it, because this was, again, a close friend. Not that Jesus didn't expect it. Again, he warned Peter, but notice also that Peter didn't take his warning very seriously. Peter kind of hurts him twice or double because he doesn't believe what Jesus has told him, even though he knows Jesus. He's been around seeing how Jesus knows what's coming, what's going to happen. So this is also hurtful. So I mention these examples because sometimes over the holidays, some people may feel hurt or lonely or abandoned or rejected. Sometimes friends and family will cause pain and hurt even when they don't mean to. These things happen. Sometimes our situation will just leave us alone. We may just, accidentally or inadvertently be lonely and be alone, be abandoned. So I just want to remind us that Jesus truly understands. Not just physical pain, but emotional anguish as well. He knows what it's like to be abandoned and betrayed by those he trusted. He knows what it's like to be rejected. He understands and is here for us in our times of need. If we look at Hebrews 4, chapter 4, verse 15, very famous verse, I know. For we do not have a high priest who cannot sympathize with our weaknesses, but was in all points tempted as we are, yet without sin. That, in some translations, if you look at the words here, it's in all things he was tested and tried. So we forget sometimes that word tempted means that he was tested, he was tried. He experienced all the hurts and pains and sufferings that we've experienced. He understands the pain that we have. And he's done this to prove and to show to us that he does understand. So it's not just the physical, but the emotional hurts we have, where our very heart and our spirit is hurting us. If we look at Isaiah chapter 53, verses 3 through 5, again, well-known verses, but those verses 3 through 5, but I think they kind of show this point as well. He's despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we did not esteem him. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten by God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement for our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed. You can look at the words used here. These are not specific to just physical things. These are emotional as well. Jesus suffered all of these sorrows and griefs that we have in life. He was wounded in every way that we are wounded. Physically, emotionally. He suffered every ill and problem that we will ever face. He understands even when the rest of us, maybe you have an issue we don't understand. He understands. And if you're suffering or you don't have any hurt or pain due to anything like that, due to friends, family, any betrayal or loneliness or abandonment or rejection, if you're suffering in anything like that, I would just ask you to please turn to the Lord. If we look at Psalm 55, verse 22, it says, cast your burden on the Lord, and he shall sustain you. He shall never permit the righteous to be moved. Pray and let him know. And if there's anything that we can do to be of assistance, if there's anything we can do to help you, we would love to be of service to you. Please do let us know. And please come forward now if you do have anything as we stand and sing.